My name is Bruce Slane, and today we're going to be talking about what's going on with Jordan Peterson, what's his current health condition, what's in store for him in the future, how did he get to this point? And I want to make clear that I did not go through his medical records, I did not speak with his doctors, I did not speak with the family members. I'm basing my opinions on the information from the video that his daughter posted on his health update and also her interview with Piers Morgan. And I wish him the best. I truly do. I'm going to tell you a bit about myself in a moment. It's my opinion that Jordan Peterson now has brain damage, not trivial, and that this could have been avoided. And we're going to go through that. Now, he's a commentator. As with all commentators, I agree with things they say. I disagree with other things they say. I would not want Jordan Peterson silenced. I enjoyed listening to him. Again, I wish the best for his family. It's my opinion he silenced himself. He did not, the government didn't silence him. The Canadian psychiatric boards didn't silence him. This was his own doing. Now, I watched commentary on this issue, and I watched one commentator make a comment, "Oh, he's probably back on his benzos," and quite frankly, I think that's insulting. So, if you think that there's not something proper or good, you do it yourself, or you sit down and be quiet. And so that's one reason why I'm posting this. The second reason, there's lessons to be learned from this. The third reason is I want to bring attention to myself, what I do, my background, my history. So, my name is Bruce Slane, and I represent mesothelioma victims of asbestos exposure and their families. I am one of the longest living survivors of mesothelioma. So, that's a passion for me. I also practice medical malpractice, and I also practice vaccine injury litigation in the Federal Court of Claims. I've deposed hundreds of doctors. I've tried medical issues in front of juries. I've worked with hundreds of doctors in their capacity as expert witnesses. That's my background, and this is not medical or legal advice. This is just my opinion, my commentary, my hypothesis. So let's go into what happened to Jordan Peterson. So in August, he was admitted to the hospital with pneumonia based on his daughter's video. And he spent almost a month in ICU. That's the information she gave us. And she said that was from pneumonia, and he went septic. So if you're going to spend a month in ICU with sepsis, this is not a minor blood infection. Most likely, he went into septic shock. And when you go into septic shock, you get extremely low blood pressure. It could be 60 over 30. And they're giving you fluids and they're giving you pressors and they're trying to get your blood pressure back up. When you have that extreme hypotension, your brain's not getting the oxygen it needs, and not getting the blood flow. You get a hypoxic brain injury. And when they get your blood pressure back up and you get the circulation back up, you get reperfusion injury after that. So when someone goes into septic shock, many times what happens is there's brain damage. And you'll see the family, if you have the unfortunate event that one of your relative grandpa goes into the ICU and goes into septic shock, you might see grandpa and go, "Oh, he doesn't remember my name." And the family members go, "Well, he's been through a lot. Let's get him back on his feet." And then he attains a certain baseline, but he's never back to where he was. And that essentially is brain damage. Now, Jordan Peterson could have went from, and I don't like talking about things in terms of IQ, but Jordan Peterson uses that description, so I'm going to use it. So he could have went from 150 IQ to an 80 IQ right now. So I'm going to play a clip as to and comment on it as to what's it like, what's Jordan's Peterson thinks an 80 IQ, what's it's like.
This guy I worked with, he probably had an IQ of something around 80, I would have estimated, and I tried to find him a job. Now, it was really hard. He had a volunteer job in a bike shop for a while, and it was a bike book shop, a real, small enterprise, and he could sort of put books in the shelf, although he couldn't sequence them very well. And then that place couldn't pay him. And so then I got him a volunteer job at a charity, and he couldn't do it well enough. They were going to fire him. And I went and talked to the director of the charity. I said, you can't fire this guy because it's going to kill him. It's like, think about this. He's 40. He's got a volunteer job at a charity, and he's going to get fired. It's like, how the hell do you recover from that? Now, he quit 2 months later anyways, and then he got a job with someone who trained dogs, and that worked out just fine. But you get my point. It's like, it was virtually impossible to find him a niche. And I tried with his mother, who was extraordinarily devoted to him in a very positive way. We tried for 3 years, really, to slot him in somewhere, and it was virtually impossible.
So that's horrible. I don't wish that for them. I hope that that is not the case. I want to point out that look how kind he was treating that person. Look how the time he was taking to help that struggling person, regardless of whatever brain damage Jordan Peterson has, it does not change who he is as a person. Now, let's say he went from 150 IQ to 130 IQ. Well, yeah, that's still a lot. Jordan Peterson has made the comment that one IQ point is equivalent to a year in school.
And 1 point IQ is worth 1 year of education.
So what is he going to do? He's going to go back to school for 20 years to get back to the level that he was. It's going to be noticeable when if he starts posting again, if he gives live postings or live interviews, you're going to see it in his speech patterns, in what he's talk when he speaks. If he's giving a debate, his adversary could go, "Well, Jordan, your damaged brain just doesn't understand this." This is horrible. This is brutal, and I don't wish this for him. Time will tell to the extent of the injuries he's sustained. He could be in speech therapy now. He could be learning to walk. Will he ever get back to where he was? I'm not optimistic. 1997, I was diagnosed with mesothelioma, and my right lung was surgically removed. This was attributed to asbestos exposure. Today, I'm an attorney, and I fight for the rights of injured victims. My name is Bruce Slane, and if you or a loved one was recently diagnosed with mesothelioma, call me. I'd like to speak with you. When you go into septic shock like this, you can and it does can it's very serious brain damage. So how did he get here? How did he get to this point? Well, there's a couple things. This could have been avoided. He didn't. This could have been avoided. He was susceptible to mold, and this is just one issue. So he's susceptible to mold. Now you have to live within the confines of your health, and maybe I'll get criticism that I'm being difficult for him on this issue, and maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But if you have this susceptibility, you have to live within the confines. You don't expose yourself to mold. When you take other actions to safeguard yourself, Jordan Peterson is worth millions and millions of dollars, and I have clients. Some of my clients are in public services, and they can't afford to move their whole family out of their apartment because there's mold. But Jordan Peterson has more flexibility. He probably stays in $600 a night hotels. I don't know, maybe less than that. Maybe he should have. I don't know. So that's one issue. Uh, but let's get into the other. This is a crux of my hypothesis is that going back to December 2021, he made a comment. Justin Trudeau made a tweet on X saying that everyone should get their COVID boosters, and Jordan Peterson replied, "You'd have to kill me first." So he'd rather die than get a COVID booster. Okay, I'm not going to disparage in general, but I'm going to explain the problem with that philosophy as it pertains to Jordan Peterson and maybe someone else in his position. If you're taking the position, I'd rather die than get that prescription medication. Well, what if your doctor says, okay, we have these prescription medications. I think you need to take this. I think you need to take that. And you need to take this vaccine. You need to take this other medication. Well, that's your doctor. That's not a shill for the government. That's not a shill for the pharmaceutical companies. They're not your parents. They are your doctor. They are there for your health, period. And that's it. That's what they care about. So, an internist, a doctor that's there for your general health, if you're going to second guess them on internal medicine, I mean, these are they spend their whole life dedicated to the practice of the medicine, to reading the literature, being up on it. They have hundreds and hundreds of patients and they see what works for those patients. And they have colleagues and they see what works for their colleagues' patients. To second guess an internist on internal medicine, it's not smart when it comes to your health. Or a cardiologist, seeing a cardiologist, well, I think you should take a statin. No, no, I'm gonna switch my diet. Well, I mean, that's a discussion with you and your doctor, but this is something that it could be that you need to take it. And that if the doctor at some later point says, well, your blood work looks good, now you can take you off of that. So back in September of 2024, there was a change in the standard of care. Pneumonia vaccinations were recommended for those 50 and above and for those under 50 with pre-existing conditions. Prior to that, it was 65 and above and those under 65 with pre-existing conditions. So Jordan Peterson is 62 and he has a pre-existing condition. He is susceptible to mold. And so that's respiratory. I mean, unless he's saying that he rubs against mold and it affects his skin, it's from what they're describing. He's susceptible to mold. It's respiratory. So he's got this pre existing condition. He's 62. He would have been going to his doctors. His doctors would have recommended the pneumonia vaccination. And maybe he said, "Oh, you know what? I had the Pneumomax 23 years ago. I'm good." Well, the Pneumomax 23, that's good 4 or 5 years. Maybe he had it when he was 50 or whatnot. But they would have recommended, "No, Jordan, this is the Prevnar 20's out. This is recommended for you." And based on just his philosophy, what happened, what likely happened, and let him say otherwise, is he goes, "No." And the doctor would say, okay, write it down, or okay, they're not going to try to control you. And the Prevnar 20 is effective. It can reduce hospitalizations from pneumonia by 75%. And you got hospitalized from pneumonia, you got antibodies, you're in so much better shape. So this is something that it was indicated for him. This is something that could have avoided everything he went to and could have placed him in a position that he'd be fine. And he didn't take it. And the daughter made a comment, it could be demons. We think it's spiritual. If she has a closer relationship to God or Jordan because of these events, I think that's beautiful. I would not discount that for a moment. I encourage his spirituality and closeness. But unless some demon told him not to listen to his doctor's instructions, this is Jordan. This is his doing. And it's not just frustrating that a great intellectual is silenced. All the doctors that had to, and the specialists that had to stop what they're doing to save his life, that you need to do that. That's what they're there for. That's their point. So of course, that's a give me. But you don't think when they dropped what they're doing to save his life and turned away from their other patients that had some effect on those other patients? So his actions had repercussions to other people, and millions of people listened to him. So you think that he's saying, "Well, I don't want to take this prescription medication"? No, you don't think other people would take that same position and then say, I don't want to take this, I don't want to follow my advice of my doctor. So there could have been other people likely with a month in ICU or dead or have brain damage. And so this is sad. This is tragedy. So we don't know fully the extent of Jordan Peterson's condition, although it's my opinion that he likely has significant brain damage. Will an MRI show it? Likely not. At some point, he should go for a neuropsych exam and see exactly the amount of damage he sustained from this. I hope he uh, plays a clip and says, "I'm absolutely fine. I'd like anyone to try to show otherwise." I hope the best for him and his family. I'm not optimistic. I'll be posting. Follow me, hit like. I'll see you. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.